Hey guys, so got some exciting news. Lotus has introduced their newest race car, the Emira GT4. I'm pretty excited about this car, all right? And when you think about the history of the track and race cars that Lotus have brought to the US, this one is certainly the pinnacle so far, right? If you look back over 20 years ago, there was the Series 1 Sport 190 Elises, and then the Exeges, Series 1 Exeges. 340R, one of my absolute favorite, track-only cars here in the U.S. Then the Series 2 cars, they brought the 240 Cup Exige, then the 255 Cup Exige, then the 211, then a 211 GT4 car, and then a series of Evora race cars as well. So anyhow, we're here today to talk to you about the Emira GT4. So welcome back again. This is Shanu with InnoKinetic. Thanks for joining us today, guys. This car from Lotus is really, really exciting. We're obviously all pretty jazzed about the Emira coming. To do a GT4 spec car is pretty ambitious. What Lotus is saying to the world is, hey, we're ready to race, with everyone. And when you look at this GT4 class right now that's being created, and it's being raced nationally, internationally, there are quite a few manufacturers who are in the mix. You've got BMW, you've got Audi, you've got Chevrolet, you've got AMG, you got McLaren, you got Porsche, you got Toyota, even Alpine are in there. So it is hotly competitive space. So to get after this, they've created this GT4 car, and frankly, they're working with a partner, an outside race team, to actually manufacture and build the cars for them. I think, frankly, Lotus are probably quite busy trying to get that new factory up and running for the Emira. So they've essentially sublet the work to the race team to really build and develop these cars, which is pretty normal thing that many different manufacturers will use. They'll send manufacturing to other companies. Many of you may not realize Aston Martin Valkyrie, AMG Project One, Ford GT, they're all outsourced to a company called Multimatic. So anyways, this is not an unusual thing, so I think it's smart. It's a way for them to truly bring an exciting car to the market. So let's talk about this car. Well, the US spec was released and it's going to run $225,000. Okay, so this is a significant, investment, but that's what it takes to run at that class. Okay, so when we look at the spec on this car, let's run through some of that. The car has a very tried and true powertrain, one that we have seen previously in V6 Exeges, we've seen it in the Evoras race cars, and that's the 3.5 liter V6 Toyota motor, coupled with an X-Track sequential gearbox. Okay, it's got an LSD, it's got flat shift, it's got a bunch of auto blip, whole bunch of driver's aids to really make the shifting spot on, fast, and the best in performance, if you will. So this engine's producing, they're stating 400 horsepower at about 6,500 RPM. The max revs on this motor in this spec is about 7,200 RPM. What's exciting is this car is slated to be 2,866 pounds, or roughly 1,300 kilograms. So a very light car for that class. I need to do a little bit of research and see how much the other cars are weighing, but there is balance of power that will play into all of this regardless. So the power number may actually fluctuate for the GT4 class. Okay, the car also comes with Öhlins TTX, and that's their two-way shocks. So that the suspension is going to be world class there. Of course, it's got an FIA cage and fire extinguisher and all the things that you need to truly wheel-to-wheel race. Brakes, it comes with 6-piston fronts, 4-piston rears. The brake rotors are 2-piece rotors. Okay, so the car is truly set up to get out there and race. So what else is on this thing? Here's some of my comments about the car. Qualitative comments, let's just say. But the rear wing, swan neck. So that's really cool. You're starting to see the swan neck style rear wings on more and more cars. Okay, there's an aerodynamic improvement or benefit to having the swan neck style of rear wing. And so you're starting to see that even on production cars. The latest 911 GT3s have a swan neck rear wing. So the wing that's on this Emira GT4 looks particularly cool. I think it's kind of a fresh approach and really fits the style of the car. Balancing that, of course, is a big front spoiler and splitter. So if you look at that front fascia, it looks larger, large intakes. There's even ducts at the very front that appear, my guess is that they're ducting air to the brakes, okay? But you'll see those in the images there as well. Something that really jumped out at me when I saw the really clear images of the car were they added additional venting at the hood for the radiator. So it's kind of an interesting thing. If you look at the design on the Emira, it has these exits for the radiator that I, in a previous video, had said how much I liked. Well, clearly that was probably not enough venting for a race car, okay? With a race car, you've got to get air in, but you got to get the air out. That's as important. So you can see clearly what they've done here by adding the additional venting. It looks fantastic. I love it. I think it's super, super cool. Okay, so anyhow, the car comes in white, but I'm sure you can get it painted. You know, that's an optional, you know, or I think you can do what so many race teams are doing nowadays, and that's have the car wrapped. In fact, we're doing that to an Exesion here as we speak. So anyways, pretty excited about this car. It's awfully expensive compared to many of the previous race track-only cars that they've brought into this country. So probably my one comment is I hope that once they meet the initial demand for the GT4 spec level cars, that they may introduce maybe a lower spec car that is dedicated for those of us who do track days and belong to country club tracks, because as you guys know, these country club tracks are exploding around the country. I think there's 13, 14 or more right now around North America, and more coming. And so that whole phenomena of people racing cars at country club tracks, I think is only going to continue to grow. And God knows, with all of the requirements and restrictions and legislation that's being enacted, whether it's noise restrictions or speed limitations or whatever the case may be, you're going to see more and more people needing to go to the track to frankly get their kicks. So my hope is that once Lotus gets the Emira up to speed and GT4 car initial demands all met, they come out with a maybe lower spec car that is a bit more affordable, because I think that there's a lot of guys out there that would snap up an Emira track-only race car in the $150,000 range. So Lotus, I hope you're listening, but I think there is a market for such a car, and I do want to thank you for introducing this car, because I think it's pretty exciting, looks fantastic, and looking forward to seeing it running on the racetrack against all the competition out there. So thank you all for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.